Hey everybody, welcome to the 86th edition of Drive-Thru Review. Today I'm going to talk about Mage Night. It's a game that plays 1 to 4 players. I've played it solitaire a couple times, 3 times the last few days, and played it with 3 players with my game group. This is a game that's going to be very hard for me to review. There is a lot to this game. There is a ton of rules, there's a ton of sort of idiosyncrasies. But if I'm saying that and it makes it feel like it's a bad game, then that is the complete opposite of what I'm trying to tell you. All of the mechanics in this game are very thematically driven. There's just a lot of what some people call it chrome, where you have rules that are just derived out of the theme itself. So there's a lot of different things you can do. So it's really fun. It's very, very much a brain burner in a lot of ways. And I think that may steer some people away from the game. Because it's a fantasy game, but it's not very, light-hearted. There's not any die rolling or anything like that for your battles or anything like that. But each time you have a turn, you're going to have a hand of cards. And you can do a whole bunch of different things. You can move across the map. You can maybe do battle with some monsters. You can siege a castle or keep, or try to siege an entire town. You can maybe go to a town or a monastery and maybe recruit new cards, new spells, new units to have sort of in your little group. You can do all kinds of good stuff. You can heal, you can rest. There's a whole tons of things you can do on your turn, and you're going to have a hand that usually about 5 or 6 cards to do that with. And so right away when you look at your hand, the cards are so versatile and so just packed with options, each card is, that on the surface it's not going to seem like you can do what you want to do. But after you play it a few times, you can kind of worm your way through all the different effects and the different options to do maybe not the one thing that you really wanted to do this turn, but you can still do something 99% of the way there that's really highly optimal for you to do. And it took me a couple of plays to really get that. I think the game will seem frustrating at first for players as they play the game. And real quick, I know I'm reviewing it here at the beginning because the rules explanation is going to be dicey at best. So I'm not going to try to go into everything. I'm just going to show you components. You really could go look at the pictures on Board Game Geek and see the components. The components are awesome. Components are awesome. So let me just show you a little bit about that, and then as always you can see under the bottom of the video when I start actually reviewing the game, so you could probably skip ahead. But I'm going to show you a little bit. It's going to be sort of a glossed over deal, and I'm just going to kind of point out some of the things that are fun, some of the key things to keep in mind as you play the game. Like for example, one thing I always forget when I'm fighting a mage tower or something like that is you can't use ranged attack on those guys. You've got to use a siege attack, which takes place in the same phase as the ranged attack. So anyway, enough babbling. Let's take a look real quick, and then I'll come back and tell you some more. Okay, so I've got a really zoomed out view of basically all the components in the game. Now you can see I don't even have the map even begin to be set up over here. And these are all a bunch of tiles over here. You can see a couple of cities and a figure over there maybe. Those are just kind of off to the side. I also don't have the player's deck and things. So if I move the camera back a little bit there, you can see the player's got a couple components there, a deck and some tokens. But one of the main areas of the game is going to be basically around this board. And you're going to level up on this board as you come down these rows here. You're going to move up levels, get new abilities, get new capacity for carrying some of these units in your army, and also keep track of your reputation. Whether you're an evil guy, you're going to go to the left this side, or a good guy, you're going to go up this way. And the town people will interact with you in different ways, or maybe not interact with you at all if you're really super evil. And then you've got sort of a lot of these offering piles here. So on the bottom we've got units. These will go into your army. As you level up, you'll be able to have more and more units. We've got ability cards here, and these will just be enhanced versions of the starter cards that come in your initial decks. And then up here, we've got spells, and you'll get these mostly out of mage towers. And you can see these are dual purpose, so usually the bottom side is a little bit stronger of an effect. And that's going to be true throughout most of these cards that are in the game. And then we've got a bunch of tokens at the top here, and these are the different encounters that you're going to place on the map as you play the game. You've got this day-night board here, with these dice, these mana dice. So once per turn, you can steal one of these mana dice and use the color of the dice to enhance one of your abilities. But you can also get effects that allow you to do that more than once per turn. Additionally, you can get these little tokens in your inventory, so to speak, and these basically act as the same. They're just more of a permanent thing in your inventory. So if you have a red token, you can carry that from turn to turn. I should say if you have a red crystal, you can carry that from turn to turn, but if you get a token, it's temporary for that turn only. You got a day board here, and every round you're going to go from day to night. And you've got the night board here. And you can see it affects the travel from the different terrain. So at the night, the forest costs 5 movement points and the desert costs 3. Or in the day, the forest costs 3 and the desert costs 5. And then you've got, before each round, each player is going to draw one of these sort of tactic cards to give them a little special bonus and determine the turn order. So here's the day tactic cards and the night tactic cards. So you've got that to think about as well. So there's a lot to take in initially. But the nice thing is the game comes with this game walkthrough. And actually, you can read this before even reading the normal rule book. And this will actually walk you through sort of a solo scenario, or you can do it co-op if you want, if you got some buddies that want to go through it with you. And this will basically slowly introduce to you all of the different components of the game. Now, one great thing about this game, sort of in a Memoir 44 style, is it has these little terrain cards, or cards for the different things. So here's an ancient ruins, and it tells you, okay, if you see an ancient ruins on the map, here's what you do. You reveal it. If it's day, you show it face up. If it's night, you show it face down. And if you defeat it, this is what happens. So it has this for all of the different kind of things that you're going to run into in the game. So after you've played through 1 or 2 games, you can just leave these out. And then when you counter something on the map, then you just pull this out and go, okay, yeah, that's how that works. This is really well done. The components in general are really well done. The art's great. Everything is 90% of the way informative to what you're going to do anyway. So they've really gone a long way in terms of that. So let's just take a closer look at this level up board here. So you can see each row is basically a level. So you've got 10 levels here. Now your first level, you're going to level up pretty quick. You got 1, 2, and then 3. Boom, you're level 2. Well, as you get higher and higher, it's going to take you longer and longer to level up. And here you can see what you gain when you level up. And what this is telling you here is you're going to be able to acquire a new card, which is one of these cards here in this advanced ability row here, as well as flip over a new ability that each character comes with. So this character here is Aretha, and she comes with this stack of abilities as well as her own personalized deck of cards. But when she levels up here to level 2, 4, 6, 8, she's going to take one of these, or 2 of these I should say, look at them, and then say, okay, I'm going to choose one of these, and then throw the other one aside so that you can maybe use it later, or another player could even use it to level up. And you can choose that ability. Now each player comes with this double-sided card that outlines all those abilities in that stack that I just showed you. So that's really handy there. You can just draw 2, look at the card and go, okay, this one seems useful, I'll choose that one. Now when you level up from the odd levels, instead of getting a card and a new ability, you're going to be able to flip over one of your level tokens. So here we can see sort of a display in front of the player. They've got their stack of skills, and you start off with this sort of blank token here, meaning that you can have 1 unit in your army. So maybe I would have recruited this unit in my army that I could use any of these abilities for. But then when I go from level 2 to 3, I'm going to flip this over and then put this in a new spot, and then I can put another unit there. And now I'm easily able to see my armor and my card draw per turn. So as I level up, I'm going to get more units, and at the same time I'm going to reveal sort of my increased statistics for that character. Really slick, really cool, really well done. Finally, for the character, they each have a 16 card deck of fairly unique cards, but they're pretty much the same, a lot of these cards. So you can play these cards for different things. You can basically move with the card, you can attack or block with the card. You can get mana tokens. If you play that, you get like a permanent token or a temporary token. All kinds of things in here. Now you can always, if you want, let's say you drew all move cards and you were standing right next to a bunch of orcs and you wanted to attack them. Well, that's not really that useful, first of all. But you can always play a card, what they call sideways. So as you're playing these cards, you lay them down in front of you. If you play it sideways, you can use it for attacking or moving or using influence in a town, maybe to recruit more people. But basically for 1 point. So you can see this says move 2, but if I played it sideways, I could use it for an attack of 1. So the cards aren't totally useless ever in your hand. The next thing you can see is it says move 2 and then move 4. So normally it'll do move 2, but then if I use a green mana, whether from a dice or a green mana token, then I can do the enhanced ability. And all the cards have this. All of the spells, all of the advanced cards that you have, even the units will kind of work this way. They'll have multiple abilities on the unit. So there's a lot you can think about and really kind of bog you down in your turn. You go, okay, I'd use this card for this and this. I've only got so much mana, so I want to use the mana on this card versus this card, so it means I can move this a little bit or attack this a little bit. So it's pretty overwhelming, but it's still awesome. So I just want to give you a quick sort of zoomed in view of a really condensed map here. So you've got, each character's got their little figure here, and you're going to be moving from terrain to terrain. Certain terrain costs you more movement to get in and out of. Forests cost more than plains. There's little towns on the map. And then as you move along here, you're going to reveal different areas on the map. So this one has a little keep symbol on it. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw one of these little keep tokens, put it down, and then maybe if you're adjacent to it in the day, you'll reveal it and you'll see, ooh, what's inside here? And if you look at this, you can see it's sort of an undead monster. He's got 7 defense, he's got 3 attack, he's going to give you 3 experience points when you kill him. He may or may not have a special effect on the right here. Sometimes there's a whole bunch of like, nasty abilities like poison and bleeding and all this kind of stuff that they'll give you. So this is the stats you've got to compare. Pretty cool, this does a trick. So you're going to have 2 phases of attack. You're going to have a ranged attack, or in this case you're going to need to do a siege attack because it's fortified, and it's also a keep, so it's fortified anyway. And you got to beat 7 points. If you don't, then he's going to attack back with 3 points of, in this case, physical attack. Sometimes it'll be fire or ice or something like that. And then you'll be able to do a melee attack back to him. If you beat him with range or siege, then he will never hit you. And then if you don't, then he hits you, and maybe you block it, maybe you don't. And then you try to hit him again, and then you get that much experience. Now, depending on where you encounter these, you can refer to these cards here, and you'll maybe get a special reward. So keeps will give you a certain reward. Mage towers will give you a certain reward. You've also got these roaming armies here, which is the layout is similar. You've got the defense, the attack, and the experience. These will actually come up face up. And if you ever move adjacent to them, and then move adjacent to them again, then you have to immediately engage with them. And you mostly will start off fighting these little roaming monsters, and then eventually, maybe depending on the scenario that you're doing, you might try to conquer one of these cities. And these cities are cool. This is where the sort of the hero click stuff comes in, and you can level up these cities here. You may not be able to see, but I'm twisting this to different levels. And so based on the level, when you go to fight or conquer the city, you may flip out certain kinds of these tokens. And you can see these keep tokens are harder than these little roaming tokens. So you may flip over 3 mage towers and a city token. And so when you fight the city, you've got to fight them all at once. Now when you take wounds, there's a bunch of these wound cards. You take these, they go directly into your hand, and they're going to stay there unless you do a rest action, in which case you're going to discard them back into your deck, and then they're going to come back anyway. But if you do a heal action, which you could do in a town or something like that, or maybe play a card to heal, then you can discard these back into the wound deck, and then they won't be in your hand irritating you. So at the end of the game, whether you conquered all the cities, or maybe that wasn't even the scenario, maybe it was a PvP scenario where you fought each other, last man standing kind of thing, you may total up your points for all the cards that you've acquired, the knowledge cards, any artifacts you've acquired, any places that you've conquered on the board. So if you beat this keep here and conquer it, you're going to put a little token on there so that you own it. And then you can actually use it to recruit new people into your army and things like that. You may even own the city like that. So you're going to add up all the things that you've conquered there and any other dungeons that you've defeated. You can go into dungeons repeatedly. That's pretty awesome to kind of like level your guy up. And then any wound cards you have are going to give you -2 points at the end of the game. And then there's some extra bonus scoring for having the most cities or whatever. So that's it. You're going to get these hands of cards and try to puzzle out, what can I possibly do on my turn? Should I go and fight these orcs? Should I go to a town here and try to recruit new people in the army? Should I go to a monastery and try to get new spells, or not new spells, but new action abilities, things like that? Should I go try to kill my buddy who's trying to take over my keep that I already own? Because you can take over your buddy's keeps if you want. There's just a lot to do. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to have fun with here. I believe above the first scenario, there's like 10 different scenarios. There's a bunch of variants you can do. So there's a lot of replayability here. Okay, hope you enjoyed that attempt at an overview. I don't know what to say. It's good. It's really good. It hurts my brain to play this game, though. I don't think I'd want to play with 4 people. I haven't played it with 4 people. Play with 3. Took us a couple hours to play with 3. It takes me about 2 hours to play it with 1. I did the solo conquest scenario. You've got to go kill 2 towns in 6 turns. So basically 3 days. Day, night, day, night, day, night. And I was very, very methodical about what I was trying to do, because I killed the town, the second town, I think on my last actual turn of the night. So I don't know if I got lucky, but I did, I won. So I'm very happy about that. But each turn I was just struggling to maximize what I could do. And I love it. It's fun. As a puzzle, as a gamery kind of puzzle, it's great. This is not like a beer drinking, I don't know what analogy to use. It's a bad analogy. It's not a beer drinking fantasy game like whatever, Runebound or something, or Castle Ravenloft or something. You don't just sit there and the game doesn't play you as much. It sounds like a knock against those games, but they have their place. This game, you play it, period. This game does not play you. Even though you get a hand of cards, you can't do a whole lot about. As you sort of piece through, getting your little combos and effects going, then it feels very satisfying on a turn to be able to pull something off and, get something that you really need to do, and you can feel your character grow and the power of your character grow. But it hurts my brain. It hurts bad, I'm telling you. But it's a good kind of hurting. So this is a game, it's not out now. It should be out in a month or 2, I think. They ran out of the first print run. I'm not sure how much you care about what I'm going to say, but I don't know what else to say. It's good. It's really good, and I hope they come out with expansions and things like that. The art's good, the production's good, the rules are written very well. They're not so great as a reference. They're not too bad, but they're just kind of buried under sort of prose, so it's not too bad, but it really does a good job of unraveling the game for you, especially with that walkthrough. But if you forget something, there's not a whole lot to forget, because after you played a couple times, then yeah, you remember how many dice you're supposed to set out per number of players and stuff like that, and the timing of certain things. But yeah, so go and get this game, I would say, if you like this kind of game. It's hard to recommend this game. There's a lot of people I think won't like this game. That's my kind of problem. I really like it and enjoy it, and maybe this is one of the best games from last year that I didn't play until this year. But okay. I think I'm done. All right, thanks.